Honestly, at this point, I cannot even tell you how many times I have woken up ready to get back on TV to talk about whatever was going on in politics that day. And instead I was told that because of a recent anti-Semitic incident, I had to talk about that instead because anti-Semitism is on the rise. Nobody seems to have any solution for stopping the Jew hatred that has taken over our country and the entire world. And today was hard. I won't lie, today was hard. Realizing that I had woken up to talk about two individuals that were murdered in cold blood by someone screaming "Free Palestine," because we have said for 19 months that those that scream about globalizing the Intifada, which this person also did, might be pushing for violence, and no one has had any interest in listening to us and stopping them. It is out of control. It is so sad. I am genuinely devastated, but also completely out of ideas and even out of hope, because I don't see this getting better. Take a look.
MC, thank you. Let me now bring in former GOP national spokesperson and an advocate against anti-Semitism, Elizabeth Pipko. Elizabeth, thank you for joining me. I hate that it's under these circumstances. As somebody who is a leading voice calling out anti-Semitism in America and around the world, what was your reaction to learning the details of this shooting, that the suspect yelled "Free, free Palestine" after killing this young couple in cold blood?
You know, first and foremost, I am heartbroken. I was supposed to be at this event. I have friends who were at this event. I have friends who know this beautiful couple, who loved this couple. I am obviously devastated, like the worldwide Jewish community. But you mentioned the murderer yelling "Free Palestine," wearing a keffiyeh as well, by the way. I'm not surprised, and I hate that I'm not surprised. But the fact is, we have been warning about this for months now. It has been 19 months, not only of praying for the war to end, praying for the hostages to come home, but also praying for an end to the rising anti-Semitism that seems to have taken over every single major institution that we have. We have begged politicians and celebrities and professors to stop allowing for people to scream from the river to the sea, globalize the Intifada. We have warned that this is exactly what it would look like. And unfortunately, this couple, this innocent couple, now died because of those reckless actions. And it doesn't seem that anyone wants to take responsibility for that.
And the other part of this, too, is that this was an event for humanitarian aid for everybody being impacted by this war. I mean, you were supposed to be there. Your friends were there. I know a couple of witnesses last night said we were there trying to figure out how you actually help both the people in Gaza and the people in Israel. Chilling that you were supposed to be at this very event yourself last night.
Yeah, chilling is probably the only word at this point to use. I don't know, honestly, what we have left. The fact is, like you said, this was not an event supporting military actions of the Israeli government, right? This was an event supporting humanitarian actions. We've screamed, like I said, for 19 months that anti-Zionism does in fact equal anti-Semitism. These were two innocent people that had nothing to do with the war going on in the Middle East. They were gunned down in cold blood because they were Jews at this event. And the fact is that is the impact here, the impact of people's words, the impact of the media, the impact of the reckless actions of so many people, the statements that are not true, that people do not fact check, that radicalize so many young people like this murderer and end up like we are right now with two innocent more deaths on top of everything going on.
And Elizabeth, let me also just ask you this. Do you think similar Jewish venues and institutions around the country, should be concerned about copycat attacks in the wake of this event?
Of course. Look, I grew up going to a Jewish school and synagogue that had bulletproof glass. And as a young kid, I was too innocent and naive to understand why. Unfortunately, now I understand. So many institutions that I know have revved up security in the last year and a half, and I can only imagine after last night, we're going to put even more resources into that. The fact is, look, I wear a Star of David around my neck, but it's just small enough that I can hide it because I'm genuinely afraid in the United States of America in 2025 to be attacked because of my faith. And I know so many people that feel the same way.
How do you see this tragedy shifting the narrative about the Israel-Gaza war in D.C. and around the country?
To be honest, I don't see any kind of narrative shift happening. I've seen too many people see actions like this being taken over the last 19 months and not feel as though they have to change. If there's anything we can rely on, it's this administration to more strongly advocate in support of Israel, to represent a proud America that stands against anti-Semitism, and hopefully inspire some young people to at least look at the facts when it comes to what is going on both in the Middle East and with anti-Semitism around the world.
And lastly, just before I let you go, I know President Trump, he was on the phone last night. He has vowed to bring this shooting suspect to justice. And he said, quote, "Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. What do you want to see from President Trump in terms of his full scope of involvement with this case in particular?
Well, look, we saw a Biden administration that did and said nothing when anti-Semitism literally took over our institutions. Donald Trump has come in and done the opposite of what we saw from the poor leadership of the last administration. He has cracked down on this anti-Semitism, on the anti-Zionism as well, because when we see these Israeli flags being burned, these Jewish students being attacked, Donald Trump knows that it's not just harmful to Jews, it is harmful to the United States of America. I'm so proud to have worked for him because of his actions on anti-Semitism, and I know if anyone is going to take a stronger stand based on what happened last night, it's going to be President Trump.
Oh, just a horrific event last night for the families, the staff at the museum, the Jewish community as a whole. Elizabeth Pipko, I can't thank you enough for your time. Thank you for hopping on with me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.